thank you for tuning in to Back to the City. Today I'm with all three members of Self-Evident and two cats,
Fritz
and Reggie, to take a journey through Lost Inside the Machinery, which comes out later this month. I think that sonically and lyrically, contraction and expansion are interesting themes in the record. So we have a track called Open Space, and in I Seek the Glaive, keep an open mind. Like at that moment in that song, I like how it's playing with the idea of openness, expansion and contraction. Is that a conscious thing?
I think so, for sure, on this record. Like, we talked about that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we had the song called Open Space is, like, this record is just much more expansive and open than anything else we've ever done, I think. And it does, it breathes. It just, it expands and contracts.
How did that openness come about?
We always had a tendency to play things really fast. And I think
In the
we were
past.
just more aware of slowing things down a little bit, but also like even like let's just see how extreme we can get on some of these sections where like, we're really opening it up and pulling things apart.
Yeah, and we're just, I mean, obviously we're a different band than we were even the last full length we put out.
Which was when?
Well,
2012, but
we had a 2015 release, which was a full length, but there was only 2 new tracks on there.
So the sonic openness is a new thing, and that comes before the title Open Space and before the lyrics regarding openness, is that right? Yeah. What were some of the other new sonic features?
We made a conscious decision, as we have, I think on most of the records, you know, or at least on the last couple, to make it more of a studio record with, you know, we weren't afraid to do overdubs. We weren't afraid to add extra instrumentation.
So we have Amy and Lee.
Yeah, we brought
Get
some,
them back.
Yep, we brought some strings in for the first time, and they were fantastic.
we also had the luxury of recording this here in town. So we had more time to play, I think, too.
Is that the first? So that was with Adam
That's why
Tucker, yeah?
it took so long too. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Normally we would just like fire through in this like 6, 7, 8 day period and like get the whole record done, and then Carl would mix it, and that would be that. But like we had the luxury of like being able to go back into the studio to record more stuff. So we were like, all right, let's do more. Let's do more. Let's do more. You know,
Well, we also had-
which
yeah.
turned out great. You know,
Yeah.
but we never did that before. You know, and we never had the ability to like let's call some friends and have them come to the studio and record some stuff on the top of this.
Or were there any moments when the process was so different from what it had been for previous records?
Well, we just had never had anybody else in there, so I mean, having not from here.
Yeah, the string section,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, having them in there for sure.
Well, the last song on the record,
The Creeper.
that one, I mean, I would say it would be the first song I think specifically had a vision for this additional part that was never part of our writing process before.
Yeah, and I gotta say that was pretty much all Tom.
Yeah, so there's like pretty popular like Heinrich Gorecki song that has like this building and cascading and, you know, like layers on top of layers on top of layers until it just like, you know, floors you until it makes you cry, you know. And that was the idea. Like it's just so intense, you know. It's just like that was sort of the idea, and I think those guys nailed it.
I think it turned out absolutely 110%, like as good as it could have. Like,
At what stage did it become evident that The Creeper had to be the final track?
yeah, I don't
It's
remember.
not something that we've ever played live. We've never played it live. And
Will you later this
the
month?
only time we will is at release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Why is that? Tricky to...
Because it needs
this
the
month in
strings.
January.
It needs the strings.
The record ends up being called Lost Inside the Machinery. The lyric in Lost Inside the Machinery is saying, you are lost inside the machinery. How did that end up being the title? And is it significant that some other person is lost inside the machinery, or that's not essential for the title?
Ben recommended that particular song as the title track. It was, you know, I think he just sent an email that said, I think one idea that would be a strong, like, sort of basis for what we call the record and what we sort of workaround is this Lost Inside the Machinery thing.
Erica
And,
Williams
yeah,
does the artwork, yeah?
Yep, and she did an excellent job of translating that and playing with it and coming up with something. She said, well, we're gonna do something with astrolabes and compasses, or like
Yeah.
older like directional navigational tools.
Is that picking up on some of the other lyrical
Could be.
focus? Because
Could be,
there's
yeah.
a moment where we're plotting a course and cutting no corners. So that made,
Sure.
I connected that with
I
the
wondered
compasses.
about that.
Yeah, she must have picked up on some of that. We didn't
She
have a
had the
discussion.
lyrics. She had the lyrics. She had all the songs, yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't make a specific note about that at all, but that's interesting.
It struck me as interesting that there's so much vegetation too. There's the machinery, of course. There's the compasses. There's this kind of like robot limb.
We're
How
always
much?
dealing with future and past. I
Hmm.
mean, that's well, and obviously the present, but I mean, like that's been a running theme throughout our records, playing around with time,
Hmm.
playing around with just the circle of it all.
Hmm.
How we're moving forward, backward at the same time. You repeat things,
Hmm.
You come back around again. You come back around.
Yeah, you find things again. So both finding and losing seem to be important. Lost is in the name of the record, and we're talking about this kind of cyclical rediscovery. Does the music play with with these ideas of finding and losing, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, one example, I guess, like where you're saying, like kind of circular, would be like the end of Open Space.
Yeah.
We actually initially, did that like last note, whatever, like 12 times.
The last
Mhm.
hit,
So
yeah.
it was like, that was like 6 minutes long or something.
Mm.
And
In
we
this-
we're kind of like, we can't do this to
Yeah.
people.
You prolong it for longer than on the record in the in-studio performance that you do for us. So,
Yeah, did
thank
we?
you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We did?
You did. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was, and I liked that a lot.
Never get enough of what you're missing. It's not an option. Could try to get away from what you're thinking, but you're still stuck in your head. Only you could realize the scenes you're dreaming. See, there's no time to explain. Though you wanted to deny the words you're reading, well, they're still stuck in your head. When nothing looks like it should, you had enough
Related to the idea of losing and finding, near the beginning of the record, in the title track, there must be something we're meant to understand, but then near the end of the record, in You Run Circles Around the Others, by that point I got sick and tired of searching for something beyond our understanding. So it's interesting, the shifts in terms of cognition and efforts to find something that might be lost, to know something that might be forgotten. At moments investing in that, at moments disinvesting in that. That seems to be conceptually important. How conceptually important is that? And then again, how are we playing with that sonically?
It was never a concept that we discussed, but I think very much like the last sort of like interview that we did, it's, you know, I write this stuff down, you know, I come up with something to sing about. It's cool that you picked up on that because I didn't pick up on that.
That shifts from
Yeah.
seeking understanding to
Yeah.
giving up on
Yeah.
But it-
trying to understand.
At one point, you did talk about like potentially like this record is potentially a concept record, and then we were talking about having something in there in the liner notes.
Yeah, like a
to-
story or something.
Right, to like tie everything together. And Connor was going to write something, but you found a friend.
He wrote more of a sort of just observation about the songs themselves. It's not really a story or anything like that. He said he wouldn't be comfortable doing that. If there is a concept, it's very loose, and I've got my own ideas about it, and I don't want to say too much to make these guys think about how they should think about the lyrics, or how you should think about the lyrics, or how.
I mean, they're all about Tom and I.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why he doesn't want to talk about it.
That's it.
He's just shredding us through
Yeah.
the whole record.
Well,
Yeah.
to we'll go back to the artwork too. It's like it's sort of timeless, like in terms of it's almost like that's those machines or tools have been sitting there for who knows how long, and now that's just basically overgrowth, right? But somebody now discovering those tools or machines isn't necessarily going to know what it is because so much time has gone by.
And
that-
that happens all the time in the
So
world.
that kind of goes back to your, understanding idea, I would think, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So even as something is found in the machinery, we don't know what it is, so it
Right.
kind of remains lost.
And you see that happen in the world. Like people find old technologies that they're like didn't know existed, and then they have to change the timeline of history or ignore it.
I was pleasantly surprised that it begins with a piano intro.
You
Is
like that?
I do like that. Yes, I like that a lot. Is that you?
Tom's playing it,
Yeah.
but then Conrad had the concept of like just like distorting it and like making it really warbly.
We were trying to figure out how to get this effect, and it was close, and it was close, and it was close. And I was on vacation in Florida visiting family, and it was over the Valentine's Day holiday, and we were watching like the Peanuts, like Snoopy, Charlie Brown, like. And there's a section in there where all of a sudden Linus or somebody is giving a speech, and there's this effect going on, and I just was like, oh my God.
With
That-
the piano.
Yeah, with the piano. I'm like, that is the thing. That is the thing. Like,
That's the way to start the record.
that is the
Yeah.
effect.
And Victrola.
A Victrola. A Victrola.
Right. Which is the same as a ground form.
What I think is so cool about that part, and it's not like it's that weird or anything, but it is repeated later in the song.
That is, yeah.
Right.
But then it's guitar.
The chord structure.
That's that's the structure of us all playing.
And when
Yeah.
we play it live, Conrad plays those chords on guitar as opposed to it being on the piano.
And then there's an interesting song structure. It's like A, B, and then like a long kind of C section.
That's the
Usually.
classic self-evident.
The first full-length song is the classic self-evident structure. How much departure from that structure is there in the record?
There is some, because I think with this record, there's like the longest amount of time having written this group of songs. Yeah. So like
Between writing them and having these final versions on the
right,
record.
so we wrote the third track,
Waiting.
Waiting. I mean,
So-
that was
some time
probably
ago.
5 years ago
Yeah.
or more.
We've been less prolific. It's because we always want it to be the best we can it could be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
There's songs we've thrown away in the meantime here.
right, and that's part of the reason it took longer.
Yep. And there's 3 songs that aren't on the U.S. version that are on
Right,
the Japanese version too.
right. So there are 3 bonus tracks if you buy the Japanese version,
Which is out now.
we've done
Came out last month.
whenever we put out a record on Stiff Slack, we give them 3 bonus tracks. So now we have a total of 6, right? So it was Endings had 3, and Fortress had 3, and this one had 3. So we could release an EP at
Of
some
the
point.
bonus tracks.
Of just the bonus tracks,
Yeah.
yeah, at
9
some point.
songs.
Yeah, 9-song EP at
You
some
should.
point.
Yeah. Speaking of endings seem important. There's hope for the end at the beginning of the record. Right near the beginning, I hope for the end. And then there's a reference to an alternative ending in Waiting Forever Tonight. Without burrowing too much into the specific lyrics, just like the way in which the concept of ending is being played with in a new way here. Hoping for the end and then an alternative ending.
Waiting Forever Tonight is actually a very positive song, and the Glaive, talking about hope for the best, hope for the end, and all that stuff. That's actually kind of like,
Dire.
So they're almost polar opposites. in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of, like-
They are completely. Waiting is very hopeful, and the other one is very like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
One of my favorite moments on the record is the end of Waiting Forever Tonight. We're not incapable of inventing possibilities, and then there's this stark, sharp end, which is interestingly at odds with the idea of possibility. And then we're into Plutonium Baby, and I think that the beginning of that, as it's building up, that evokes like possibility to me.
Yeah.
And like sonically it's evolving, and we're exploring like,
We had a lot of fun writing that one.
yeah.
Yeah, we did.
don't know anything, and when the heavens fall, you're done with it and your heart's racing and your mind's racing, and they won't stop talking, and you can't find the center. You become convinced never make it this time.
Can you expand on the process and the fun process of writing that one?
With that one, it was actually a beat, right?
Was it a beat?
Yeah.
That
I
makes
think it was
sense.
a beat. Yeah.
I had a conceptual beat where it was like, I'm playing a ride pattern that's not very typical, I guess. That whole song, like, I'm almost keeping the same conceptual groove, like,
Yeah.
throughout the whole thing. Even during the end section where, like, it opens up,
Mhm.
I'm still going, I'm going to the ride symbol instead, and we're playing in odd time.
Mhm.
That concept is still in there.
How is the bass working alongside that? I really like what the bass is doing in Plutonium Baby.
I was like sort of trying to evoke, especially with like that middle section that like is pretty sparse, kind of trying to evoke
Mm.
this like McCluskey
Mm, I hear that.
sort of thing, where it's like sparse but aggressive.
Mhm.
What Conrad didn't want to do on that song, and I'm glad he did, was to match the vocal with what you were doing at the end, right? With
Oh
the
yeah, I
guitar
just
or whatever.
I couldn't
Yeah.
get used to doing it
Mhm.
that way. But like
I
once,
love that though.
like you said, it was a Hendrix
It
thing.
is like he's singing the exact notes that he's playing. Like
Yeah.
I just love that stuff.
And then I wrote like a melody part over that, or harmony part that. Like,
Oh, and the harmony part is like
Yeah.
my favorite thing of that whole deal.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how we can really translate that live, but we'll work on it.
For only that one show.
Yeah. So-
That's a nice note to end on. We managed to find a lot of stuff on our journey through Lost in the Machinery. Thank you for taking us on this journey through the new record. And we're excited to celebrate it at Ice House with Hardcore Crayons later this month on January the
18th.
Just a little ways down the road.
January the
Couple
18th.
weeks,
Yeah. So we'll see you there at Ice House.
Thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, very welcome.
It's
And the
always good to
cats.
see you.
It's always good to see you too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the cats.
And the cats.
Yeah.
They're pretty well behaved. This one's drunk. This is how this cat acts when they're drunk.
Weird. Just staring.
Well, this has been Back to the City. I'm Simon Caller. This is Self-Evident, and we'll see you at Ice House on the 18th of January.
Which camera? That one? Thanks everyone.